The situation in Ukraine has left the world speechless. On one side, people are voicing their pain for Ukrainians through prayers, while others are making things difficult for Russia. On the other hand, the famous racing event F1 has left Russian driver Nikita Mazepin questioning his career in this feud. In this video, let's dive into the seas of controversy surrounding Nikita Mazepin. First up, is Mazepin's future on the line? The answer to that burning question is yes. Let's just say that his future is hanging by a thin thread. The driver is anxiously awaiting the decision of his future with F1, while also having his career on the line. Since the FIA has taken into hands whether or not to suspend the Russian driver's license due to the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, which may lead to Mazepin losing his seat with Haas, the FIA has planned to initiate a series of talks that may or may not be in the driver's favor. However, the driver himself kept a low profile during this time and was not seen committing any offense involving himself, which can be labeled as a smart move if you ask us. But the FAU is hot on its heels after the Russian driver. That has led to F1 receiving a request from the FAU, the Automobile Federation of Ukraine, to relieve Russian drivers of their licenses. The FIA is up and running with meetings to consider their request. This chain of unfortunate events started when Russian President Putin declared war on Ukraine and had his army advance toward many cities in Ukraine. Surprisingly, even the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman narrated full support to the FAU in its request, which didn't sit quite well with us. Nevertheless, if the request is approved and decisions are taken, the Russian driver may be affected permanently. In a press conference, Mazepin was asked about his views on the war taking place. He gave a blatant statement saying that being an athlete of high prestige meant that he knew what happened worldwide, especially if it involved his country. He added that he wasn't struggling because he has always advocated sports with no political approach. F1 has previously announced the cancellation of the Russian Grand Prix that was supposed to take place in Sochi because of the Ukraine-Russian situation. Although all teams and drivers supported this decision, this put Mazepin in an awkward position. Next, Mazepin and his former controversies. Even before the whole Russia vs. Ukraine debacle, the Russian driver was still under hot waters for his never-ending list of controversies. He's somewhat known for having a conflict of nature with the F1 world. Whether it's on the track or not, many times in his career he received negativity toward his behavior and was told numerous times to withdraw from F1. But as the saying goes, when there's a will, there's a way. Despite his poor behavior, he still remains part of F1. In his prime days of the European Formula 3 event, Mazepin, who drove for the high-tech Grand Prix team, entered an argument with ART-GP's Callum Elot. It resulted in both individuals bombarding each other with punches. After this intense showdown, Elot was left traumatized with cuts on his neck and cheek and a swollen mouth to remember. In contrast, the F1 authorities gifted Mazepin a one-race ban for his immoral behavior, which we believe did not match against the brutal offenses he committed against the poor Elot. Right after securing a seat with Haas in late 2020, the Russian was condemned right after throughout social media when he posted a video on Instagram where he was seen groping the breast of a female friend of his while sitting in a Porsche. Raged fans and netizens called out Haas F1 to deprive Mazepin of his seat, and the hashtag #WeSayNoToMazepin went viral. Haas issued a statement related to this incident, declaring it to be an obscene act. The driver was forced to apologize for his immoral behavior as it caused discomfort on social media and embarrassed his team. Although so much happened because of this incident, Haas continued to have Mazepin drive for their upcoming season. Rich dad or poor dad? Not many drivers come from privileged families or have high-profile backgrounds. You can take the example of the driver Lewis Hamilton, who emerged from the working class and is now climbing the social ladder. But that's not the case with Nikita Mazepin. Let's just say that Nikita Mazepin is the epitome of a spoiled kid, handed everything on a silver platter. The Russian driver's racing career is entirely sponsored by his billionaire father, Dmitry, and this has given Mazepin the title of a pay driver. Dmitry Mazepin has a net worth of more than £5 billion after commencing his chemical company named Uralkali back in 2007. As if building your son's entire career wasn't enough, Dmitry took it upon himself to also save his son's dying team. He sponsored his son's previous season with the help of a Russian company, Uralkali, where he's a shareholder. He made a €30 million deal, which proved to be integral for the team's survival. And as a token of appreciation, Haas F1's livery displayed colors of the Russian Russian flag. However, the flag's colors were removed from the 2022 car due to the invasion its country caused, and a plain white car with no sponsors branded on it was driven in Barcelona. The father-son duo was seen meeting the Russian president a few years ago with a picture of them surfaced on the internet. We don't think this puts Mazepin in a favoring position, now does it? Is Haas in trouble with F1? Although the decision to relieve Russian drivers of their licenses is still pending, one thing is certain: Nikita Mazepin's days with Haas are falling short. Mazepin went through a series of incidents while still being in his initial stage of his career, as he was seen struggling to get a hold of the car and because of it spun off track many times and even given a nickname that rhymes with his name. In addition, Mazepin received competition from his teammate Mick Schumacher, who continuously outperformed the Russian driver. On the other hand, Haas has not been doing well lately, and it even came last among other race cars in the 2021 season due to its inability to collect funds. There's no doubt that Mazepin showed minimal improvements, such as achieving the highest finish of 14th in the Grand Prix held in Azerbaijan. Unfortunately, Mazepin and Schumacher together were not even able to make a single point in the 22 race season. Both the teammates are not on good terms due to the earlier incident. Mazepin even accused his teammate of deliberately losing his qualifying lap at the Dutch Grand Prix. Gunther Steiner, the principal of the Haas F1 team, stated that if Mazepin loses his seat, their reserve driver, Pietro Fittipaldi, if this is true, it would be a very difficult journey for Mazepin if he wants to make a comeback. Now in other related news, has Mick Schumacher lost his confidence? At the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Haas driver Mick Schumacher lost control of his car when he made a high-speed turning, which ended with the car and driver crashing into the left side of the racing track. The German driver was taken straight to the hospital, and luckily the driver received no serious injuries. However, he was no longer allowed to participate in the upcoming Grand Prix. The driver had been performing well for himself and the team, and is aiming for his first ever points in F1 thanks to his team bringing him in form. So the news of him being ruled out left him in shock. However, Haas team principal Gunther Steiner was sure that Schumacher wouldn't lose his confidence after the crash. He was positive that the driver would come right back at the time when the competition for points would rise. Next, Uralkali demands refund from Haas. Uralkali, the Russian company that sponsors Haas F1, demanded a return of their money after the company and driver Nikita Mazepin's contract to go ahead with the 2022 season was officially terminated. The termination was Russia's invasion war of Ukraine, but the company called out Haas and declared the termination of both contracts to be unilateral. Uralkali states that it needs to protect its rights, followed by proper procedures, has every right to seek judicial help, and demands repayment of the funding it gave to Haas for the 2022 season. Although the company demands direct reimbursement, the money is spent on the team. The race reported a week ago that the amount given to Haas by Uralkali was overestimated. The company no longer sponsoring Haas was not going to affect it or put it at risk in the future. Lastly, Haas's new journey with new sponsors. As we know, Uralkali and Haas are no longer under contract, and as a result, Haas has whitewashed their cars with the company's branding, which embedded the Russian flag. In addition, Uralkali has sponsored the team since Mazepin became a member of it at the beginning of 2021 and served as a financial booster. But Haas claims they can survive without Uralkali's financial support and will proceed with their plans for 2022. Gunther Steiner expressed his views on the termination of Uralkali's contract, saying a big hole was left, but to their surprise, the empty hole would soon be filled as potential sponsors are showing interest in the team. Haas Automation, the company of Gene Haas, who is the owner of Haas F1, has garnered more branding than ever on their car. The Haas VF22, which already secures sponsorship from Ineos and German company 1&1, even though Haas is the only American team in the championship, Steiner considers it a challenge to get hold of American sponsors. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one.